Yeah. You like working with your hands. That's why you make soap.
I do. And I like moving around and dancing to Taylor Swift. And you can't do that when you're sitting in a chair.
You cannot. No,
You
no, it
fall off the
is.
chair. It's a bad time.
Yeah. Cause you can't just like small dance like Taylor Swift did and Hamilton. Cause I know you also listen to a lot of Hamilton.
I do. Yeah.
You know, it's big dancing.
Yes, it is. It's a lot.
Hello, Chantine.
Well, hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm so glad that we're doing this today. I'm very excited.
Yes, me too. So for people watching, just kind of a background, this year we have decided at A Drop in the Ocean to do a mini series within our weekly email series. And every month we're going to be highlighting a different vendor that we have here at A Drop in the Ocean so that our community can get to know the people behind the products, because it's not like just random people and it's not machines making everything. It's actual people. And so we just want to use this space to highlight you and get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, I love what you're doing with all of this. I think it's a really great idea and I'm totally here for it. So thank you so much for selecting me as one of your vendors to interview.
Yes. And you're actually going to be the first one. So this is going to go live on the last Monday of this month.
I love it. So. Okay, that's good to know. I will have to check my schedule and see if I can make mine line up too. So that'll be good. Yeah, awesome.
Perfect. Perfect.
Very cool.
So do we want to just get started and you introduce yourself and your business and we'll go from there?
Yeah, totally. I am Chantine McBain. I am the owner of Soap and Clay. And I have been in the business doing the soapy things for, God, like over a decade at this point. It's really crazy. And I actually, A Drop in the Ocean is one of my favorite wholesale accounts just across the board because of everything that your business actually is and the way that you structure it. And it makes me happy, really, that I get to be a part of what you are doing, being an eco-warrior and all the jazz.
So I guess I should also say that, like, you know, what products we get from you. So obviously you own Soap and Clay, so soaps. So right. You do all of our bar soaps and you also do our, looking at my inventory, our lotion candles, our shower steamers, and our toilet cleaner bombs.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
Conditioner bars, but that's also solid bar stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking over at your orders right now going, did you miss anything? I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. I'm just kind of jumping all over the place here, but why not? I love that, like, our business relationship started with just like a shampoo bar and the salt scrub bar.
Yeah, totally.
And now it's just like so many different products that have evolved over time.
I know. And it's totally cool because when you hit me up with something that you want to do or try or whatever, I'm like, well, yeah, I think I can do this, because it's interesting playing with your account and the things that you do for your business, in that you are completely cruelty-free, which is obvious, you know, so you obviously go palm-free, which is always a fun thing for me to play with, reformulating recipes so they don't include palm. And we also keep all of the fragrances and the detergents and any sort of artificial bubblers, everything completely out of your products specifically. Not to say that mine have any of that, you know, but I do love to play around with fragrances. You don't do that. You are 100% an essential oil brand, which is so much fun for me because I get to play mad scientist all of the time to make cool scents. Like, how do you make something smell like champagne with only essential oils? I get to play with that. So it's amazing. And I love being able to do that for you and all of the cool products that, you know, we come up with together.
Yeah. And I love when, because I feel like I haven't in a while, but sometimes I'll just reach out to you and be like, I have this crazy idea. Can you do it? And yeah. And you'll be like, yeah, I think I can do that. And then you make a video about it and you put it on your YouTube channel. And it's so funny sometimes, like the red dish soap bar last year, your whole video is like, I don't know how I'm going to make this red. She wants it to be Starbucks cup red. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Let's figure it out. I don't know. And I was like,
all right. Yeah, and that's definitely part of the fun with your account for sure. Because that red was tough. That was a hard one to do with natural colorants for sure. And normally a mica, and it's a gorgeous bar of soap, but normally a mica would be easy. Well, that's the thing. Reds are hardened soap just in general. So I was so proud of myself that I was able to do that for that dish soap. That was a big win for me.
I love it. The other one is the white peach sangria bar.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think about the fact that like there's no peach oil.
Yeah.
And so you were like, how am I going to make a peach? And it smells like peaches.
Yeah.
Like you would think that you just like squeezed a peach into that soap.
Yeah, it's wild. And that's part of the fun that I have with your wholesale account specifically, because I get to play around with that and see if I can make it so. And as a result, I'm always playing around with essential oil blends, just waiting for you to call again and be like, hey, can we do a new one? I have one I'm working on. So it's fun.
Yes. I'm excited for this new one.
Yeah, no, me too. I think you're going to love it for sure.
Yeah. Yay. So then I guess, so let's maybe go back to like soap and clay. What is soap and clay? So how did soap and clay start? How did you as Chantine get started in soap making? And then how did soap and clay come out of that?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of an interesting story, and it has a weird evolution. I wanted to do something with all of my education, really, because I have a lot of I really wanted to be a full-time student when it was all said and done. And so therefore I was in college and earning lots of degrees. And I was actually at home with the kiddos doing the stay-at-home mom thing. I quit my job in tech when I got pregnant with my first kiddo. And I wanted to be present, because when you're in tech and you're traveling every week, you're not present. And I love my children. They're amazing. But I needed something that was still me and something that was other than mom, right? And around this same time, my grandmother was hitting her end stages of dementia, and she passed away. And she was my OG like person. She taught me how to make everything. And she was this really awesome teacher. That was her literal profession. She was my first grade teacher, and she was an amazing artist, and she was just a kind and amazing human being. And while I was going through all of that, the grief process of losing her, my mother was also, she had found clay, she had found pottery, and she was throwing pots and doing stuff. And my brother was really getting into the web development and stuff. And I went, so as a family, we can, because we weren't talking about the grief, but as a family, we can bring this all together and create this business together with our grief processes while not having to talk to each other about how shitty we're feeling. And so Soap and Clay was kind of born from that. And I knew that I wanted to take everything that my grandma was and put that into the business. So the teaching element always had to be there. The honesty and the transparency always had to be there. My grandmother being such an altruistic person, that of course had to be involved too. So, I still to this day, I donate 10% of all of my profit to a different organization every month as just part of what I do. And I don't make that public or anything. It's just what I do, because I want to be able to give back to the communities that are holding up these little small businesses. So that's kind of where it started, and it kind of grew and got big from there. So it's been a wild and crazy soapy journey for sure.
Yeah. So then I guess building on that, what would you say sets Soap and Clay apart from other soap makers?
Well, I think first and foremost, the teaching aspect was something that was really never seen in the game. And you obviously, there are people that do the things on the YouTubes, like soap tubers or whatever. They're always pretty stingy with their recipes and the actual process and stuff like that. And it was almost unheard of that you could actually just walk into a soap shop and not only watch the process unfold, but also participate in a class and see everything and learn about it. And so that's probably the biggest thing that set me apart from other soap makers at the time. And I hope more people get to that point where they're not afraid to teach others and to, let them behind the curtain, because soap's not that complicated and it's a lot of fun, and people sort of like seeing how things get made. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is definitely being seen, because you just hit 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. Did you not?
I did. Yeah. That's unexpected. Super cool. Yeah. That has been a fun arc that we did through the COVID thing for sure. When I was not able to teach classes and I started the YouTube channel and teach there every day, it's cool. I found a new connection, a new community that I didn't know I needed. And now I can't live without them. So it's definitely been a fun ride with the YouTube thing for sure.
Yeah. And so you've been doing that for about 2 years now, right? Because it was like right after COVID started or going on 2 years.
Yeah, so in April it'll be 2 years. The channel will be 2 years old in April.
That's so
Essentially, I
exciting.
spent about 2 weeks at home with the stay-at-home order and was losing my mind. And I'm like, well, I have to do something. So I started a YouTube channel. So that's been fun.
Yeah, good. And I loved being on one of your lives the other day, like seeing how engaged that community is. Like that was really special.
Yeah, and I think this is why we do this, right? I think this is the point of having a small business versus working for another corporation that arguably could be doing the same thing. It's the human interaction. That's the point of these micro businesses in these micro communities, building actual connections with other humans in new kind of meaningful ways that you're not going to get from a box store or from, well, any other thing. So I love that. I love being able to, interact with the sudsers and do the things at all times.
Yeah. How has that shifted for you moving out of your brick and mortar?
Yeah, it's actually been really cool because COVID has been such a weird thing for all businesses, and so all of the distancing and everything. I thought I would really miss the one-on-one interaction, but it turns out I don't. At this point, I really have this awesome community of peoples that are there. And whenever, a sudser needs a little bit of extra support, we do this. We jump on Zooms together. And so it's like we're next to each other, Yeah. And so it works out. It's actually been a really good way to exist throughout all of this. So I'm here for it. And I really have none regrets at this point shutting down the brick and mortar when I did, because I, again, found this new community that made more sense for me and what I need to do with my family as well. So it's been good.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So it sounds like teaching is something that you're super passionate about. Is that like, would you say that that's your favorite part of what you do, or what would you say is your favorite part of?
Yeah, I think it would probably be a toss up between the teaching and the new formulations and just like playing with things. And because I love doing that. I'm always wanting to be the mad scientist and, can we build a better bath bomb? Can we build a conditioner bar? What happens when you do this with this? And so the testing and the teaching, which I guess really does go hand in hand, because whenever I do a new test, I also put that up on YouTube. Let's see what this does. And so, yeah, I really do enjoy the teaching aspect across the board with all of it. And that's something that I could never get away from, I think, in whatever I decide to do. If I decide that I don't like soap anymore, that's weird, but cool, I might. I would still, whatever the next thing that I ended up doing, I would still want to be teaching others while I'm, doing it. So there's that.
Do you see yourself offering any like either virtual classes or in-person classes when it's safe to do so again? Or are you just going to kind of stick with the YouTube thing?
Yeah, so that's actually in the work. For the virtual, we're actually putting something on the new website. Our website's currently down, and we are building out new platforms on the website, including a wholesale area. So that's fun. And we are also doing a class thing, as well as we have purchased an old Airstream and are gutting it. And we will have mobile soap classes. So Mrs. Soap and Clay goes mobile. And the idea of it is kind of just get in the vehicle, hopefully a Tesla can tow. I don't know.
We'll find out.
We're going to find out. And so it'll essentially be just, hey, I'm going to be in Idaho in this place on this day. If I get enough people together, we'll do a class and I will just come to you. So it'll be a fun time. Really looking forward to that.
I love that so much. I've toyed around with the idea of, and like, this is not official, so nobody like say, hey, Christina said she was going to do this.
Right.
But I've toyed around with the idea in my brain of like getting a truck or an Airstream or something and kind of turning a drop in the ocean into this, like,
yeah,
just drive around and fill shampoo and
seriously.
Whatnot. Like, I feel like it would be so much fun. I don't know if it's something I would do long term, which is why I haven't been like, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Right.
But I like the idea of it.
Yeah, totally. Me too. And that's totally where this all like sort of started. Like just this idea of just going and driving and showing up somewhere. Here we go. You know? But so, yeah, I think it's a fun thing. And I look forward to getting to do that when everything's safe to do it again. So it'll be cool.
For sure. I love it. So one thing that our EcoWarriors have expressed interest in is where you source your ingredients from, because, you know, like you said earlier, you know, all of our ingredients for our soaps are natural, fragrance free, palm free, all of that. So where do you kind of get your ingredients from?
Sure. Yeah. So for the most part, I keep everything as local as humanly possible. You know, so I mean, this is not you specifically because we do vegan, completely vegan for all of your stuff, but I do have a couple accounts that do not. And so like locally sourced honey and, you know, beeswax and stuff like that. And everything that I do as far as oils and stuff, it's local in that I have a supplier in Seattle, but coconut oil does not locally grow here. You know,
What?
isn't that crazy? And so that's actually something that I like have been talking about a lot in my deep dives. And that's why I like going to, this is where it comes from. This is, you know, so people get a better understanding of made in USA isn't, yeah, I mean, it's made in USA, but somebody still has to get that coconut oil to me. So we do locally sourced as often as possible. And I work with a lot of vendors for that. And whenever I need a new mold and whatnot, I always hit up Etsy sites first because I like to support other small creators and all of that jazz. And yeah, anything that is sourceable here, I definitely do. And for the most part, everything comes from Washington State itself. So one way or another, even though, again, the coconut oil is coming from somewhere else, I'm still helping another business here in Washington State.
Yeah. Ugh, I love that. That's something that I really enjoy about A Drop in the Ocean is how many of our products are sourced from Washington. Yeah. And so then knowing that like the ingredients are also being sourced in Washington is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really does become continuing to build up this awesome micro community. And that's how everything gets better. Build up a small community.
Yes. So. Yes. So I'm curious, what is something that you are really proud of, whether with the business or outside of the business or both?
Yeah.
What are you proud of?
That's interesting. I'm very proud of everything in my life because I'm so good at everything.
Well, yeah.
Joke. No, but as far as the business is concerned, I am proud of the fact that I have been so connected to my customers. I've never treated my customers like an actual customer. They are my sudsers, right? And that's why I've always done that. And when you become somebody who purchases my things, you are like a piece of my family. So I don't, you know, I'm always very, very attentive to all of the customer interactions. And if they have a problem, if they don't, you know, whatever, if they have suggestions, I'm always very open to all of that to continue on with the community first, because soap is soap. You can get soap from anywhere, but you want to come back to me because A, you like my product, sure. But two, the community that's here and the actual, if I can make one person feel like they were seen in a day, that's a successful day for me. And so far, I'm able to do that every day. So I'm pretty much most proud of that because that's a very important human interaction has always been a huge part of my existence. And so being able to see a person as a human and not as a dollar is good. Personal points of pride. I just finished the dog room in the house. It's all finished. We painted murals inside of it. Yeah, I'm so proud of that. They have this beautiful dog room and it's gorgeous and they have sounds and TVs and whatever. But when they want to go hide, it's a good time. Proud of that.
Right, spoiled dogs.
They're very spoiled dogs. Yes, our animals are very spoiled.
I love it. I love it. And I do love that you don't refer to your customers as customers. Like they're your sudsers. Your employees are soap prentices.
Right.
I love that. That's also something that I'm really cognizant of is like, I don't call my customers either. Like they are part of the EcoWarrior community. They are EcoWarriors. You know, it's much more than just a dollar.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a good thing to keep in mind and to remember because that's the whole point of this living thing.
Exactly.
I have so many whole points today. My God.
And they're such great points.
Yeah.
So what's something that people might be surprised to learn about you?
Ooh, I don't know. That's kind of a weird one, right? Because I'm an oversharer on the YouTube things. And so most of my secrets have already been told. I I guess something that surprises people when they learn it is I'm actually terrible at math, which, considering my chemistry and biology background, is a little weird. It's a little bit weird that I'm so bad at maths, but I don't maths.
But that's why we have calculators.
That's what I was about to say. Exactly. That's what we have calculators for. So it's not needed.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of saponification.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing about the chemistry of soap. I'm just like, hey, Chantine, can you make me soap? And then I trust that you are making soap.
Right.
And when you send me the ingredients of the soaps, we've had this conversation that you send me the list of everything that went into the pot.
Right.
Which may be different than what comes out of the pot.
Right.
Because of the saponification process. Can you just kind of explain that? Because I did get an email from one of our EcoWarriors about the sodium hydroxide and what that actually is. And I was like, well, it's not actually sodium hydroxide once it comes out of the pot, but I don't understand that process fully. So can you just kind of brief overview?
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why for all of my wholesale accounts, I give you the lists in both ways. So it's everything that goes into the pot or the saponified ... Because what you have your oils, right? And you have your sodium hydroxide mixed with a water or some sort of liquid for your lye solution. And the lye solution breaks apart the fatty acid chains in your oils. And it creates a new chemical, which is technically, chemically speaking, a salt. And that is soap. So when the saponification process is over, assuming you have not messed up your calculations, absolutely zero lye exists. There's no more sodium hydroxide left in the bar at all. Instead, you have changed the fatty acid chain from one of these oils to, like, let's talk about like coconut oil, for example. So instead of coconut oil, it's now sodium cocoate because it's a salty fatty acid chain of coconut oil. And so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, it can get very confusing. And that's always one of the really interesting conversations to have with people in the soap making world, because you see, or the consumer world rather, because you see sodium hydroxide on the back of a label and they're like, oh, well, that's a chemical. We obviously can't use this. Well, the chemical doesn't exist anymore. And again, sodium hydroxide, it's lye. It exists everywhere. Right. So yeah, saponification is a fascinating thing. And that's the thing that I've always loved the most about soap making, because it is chemistry and it's just basic chemistry. And you can just look at the molecular structure of all of your oils, of, everything, and formulate your recipes just based on that. And it's fascinating. So saponification is totally my jam.
Okay. Thank you. That helps a lot. So thank you for that.
Good.
Yeah. What is your favorite product that you make?
Oh, my favorite product that I make. Well, that's a tough one. My favorite product to pour is the For Your Skin Only bar, the Bond bar in my soap line. Mostly because it's like 6 colors of just random stuff going in, and then I just get to randomly, and then it always ends up being such beautiful patterns every single time. I think the product that I make the most of and still am not sick of it would be my beer soaps, because I love the scary process of making beer soaps, because at any given time a recipe or a pour could go south because of the extra sugars in it, and it could thicken your batter. Weird stuff could happen. And so I kind of like the scary part of all of that. Definitely not tired of making the beer soaps. That would probably be my favorite.
Yeah. Interesting. I wouldn't even have thought of that. Like, it makes sense, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought of how like the beer could really mess with it.
Yeah, it's totally wild. When you start putting sugars into hot solutions, it gets nuts.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And you also have some soaps that do they have wine in them, or are they just like wine scented?
Yeah, they also have wine in them. So I like messing around with the liquids in soap making all the time. So I have soaps that are made out of aloe vera, out of coconut milk, out of wine, out of beer, out of hard liquor. I just like playing with it and seeing what it does. And sometimes it's really tough and it causes volcano explosions. And other times, you get a great product out of it. So it's all part of the testing and the experimentation.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I love it. Well, is there anything else that you would want to share with the A Drop in the Ocean EcoWarrior community?
Of course. Hey, Drop in the Ocean EcoWarrior community. You guys are awesome. thank you for like being a part of the entire movement and giving a crap about what you consume and how you consume and what your footprint is, because that's important. I was just having a conversation with my children as I was dropping them off at school today, because they just got a new school right next to their old school, and we're watching the old school get torn down. And there's just all this waste of this old building. It's a whole building that's now rubble. And I was having to have a conversation with them about where that rubble goes. And P.S. net, it gets buried in our ground. That's terrible. And so that sucks. And so thinking about those sorts of things, like the effect of the cause, you have this and it impacts these other things, is important. So good on you guys for continuing to be awesome and cognizant of all the decisions you make, because every person does that. And this is how everything continues to exist. There's another. That's the whole point.
Hear, hear. They are really great. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I love our EcoWarriors.
I know. I love reading your comments and stuff on your Instagram posts and stuff when people start talking about, you know, when you're doing like your things about plastic and did you know, your little did you know series and everything. I love reading the comments, and like I actually am part of a couple zero waste community like Facebook pages, and it's always really cool to see people really paying attention to something as simple as like, you know, the top of a plastic bottle, you know. I mean, it's very cool. So I like that.
Yeah.
Y'all need to continue being awesome. Thank you.
Yes. I also love that our community is super non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that in a lot of like the Facebook groups and things like that, is like somebody asks for like, hey, how can I reduce this? And people are like, oh, I can't believe you're using that anyway. Like, shame. And I hate that. And we don't see that at all with the EcoWarriors, which I absolutely love.
Good. That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. It's important to build a nice supportive community, because when you know better, you do better, but you have to know better first.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. It's Maya Angelou, I think.
I think so.
I've heard that? I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Make sure to leave that in, because I'm not going to not quote her.
Well, yeah. Awesome. Well, where can people find you if they want to follow you or learn more, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. So I'm on the YouTubes, Soap and Clay on the YouTubes, and I'm on the Insta, Soap and Clay. I'm on the Twitter. I don't tweet though. And Facebook, also there. My website is soapandclay.com. And by the time this comes up, it'll actually be back online. So you can definitely go check that out. Very cool. And I will be starting a Twitch stream soon too. So that's going to be wild. We're just going to film 7, 8, 9 hour days of me just making soap.
That's so exciting. I might have to get a Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch is actually a lot of fun, and the gamers get to do it. So why can't I do it? Just
exactly. Make
soap for 7 hours, talk to people.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. It's better than just talking to myself.
It's true.
You know?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chantine. This was so fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was absolutely a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about this series, and I can't wait to see what other vendors you do and get all the information from them. This is very cool.
Yeah, every last Monday of the month. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.